So this popped up in, again, multiple different feeds. So when it comes to solving problems, sometimes you ask the wrong questions and you need to be able to ask the right questions. So just like anything else, there's a whole website dedicated to certain specific problems about things that people do specifically. This one is the XY problem. The XY problem is asking your attempted solution rather than your actual problem. This leads to enormous amounts of wasted time and energy, both on the part of people asking for help and on the part of those providing help. User wants to do X. User doesn't want to know how to do X, but thinks they can fumble their way to a solution if they can just manage to do Y. User doesn't know how to do Y either. User asks for help with Y. Others try to help user with Y, but are confused because Y seems like a strange problem to want to solve. After much interaction and wasted time, it finally becomes clear that the user really wants help with X, and that Y wasn't even a suitable solution for X. The problem occurs when people get stuck on what they believe is a solution and are unable to step back and explain the issue in full. So this comes down to the user has asked how to do Y, rather than saying, hey guys, how do I do Y because I want to do X? And so you have basically completely gimped yourself by explaining, hey, here's Y thing that I want to do, and it's because I want to do X thing that I want to do that I think Y will work. But that never gets laid out, and so you're like, okay, here's Y to do, and now I want to do it. How do I do that? I don't know how to do Y nor X, but I'm going to ask how to do Y. Anyway, what to do about it? Always include information about a broader picture along with any attempted solution. If someone asks for more information, do provide details. If there are other solutions you've already ruled out, share why you've ruled them out. This gives more information about your requirements. Remember that if your diagnostic theories were accurate, you wouldn't be asking for help, right? So this is basic troubleshooting, is really what it is like, hey, I'm trying to accomplish this. I am thinking that I need to do this in order to accomplish this. And here are the steps that I've already gone through to try and accomplish that have not worked. And by the way, I've looked at these other solutions, but I've ruled them out because it's out, whether it be outside the scope of what it is you're trying to do, or whether it be too much, you're trying to simplify things, whatever it be as to why you've ruled these things out in your criteria as to what is going on, it can help people better suggest, what other solutions there are and help you, or otherwise say like, hey, you ruled this out for this reason, but have you considered that maybe this, and then you can accomplish a thing that you want to, and you can make this solution that you ruled out valid because of this other thing over here. So now we get into the examples. Example 1, Noob doesn't actually want the last 3 characters in a file name. He wants the file extensions, so why ask for the last 3 characters? How can I echo the last 3 characters in a file name? If they're in a variable, echo foo -3. Why 3 characters? What do you really want? Do you want the extension? Yes. There's no guarantee that every file name will have a 3-letter extension, so blindly grabbing 3 characters does not give the solution to the problem. Echo this. So, in essence, you're going after a thing, and this particular scenario comes from the idea of probably someone that's used to every file name having an extension in the first place. And so this is more of a lack of familiarity with the solution, when the solution is like, hey, you can actually like regex or whatever, sort out, get rid of everything before the period, and then go from there. Hence why dot files exist, because typically you're hiding the extension. The extension is typically the last period, and yeah, so on and so forth. But it's more of, hey, I'm trying to get the extension. Well, not every file is going to have an extension. Here's a different solution that may help you better. You can get the extension using this, but at the same time, you can also get file type or MIME type data by using this utility as well. So you get a more fleshed out solution, but then again, why do you want the file extension? What are you trying to get the file extension for? So you can figure out, like, why am I going after the file extension? What's the use case for it? And then is there a better solution than just looking for the file extension? So then example 2. If Angela had just started by explaining she wanted to prevent others from detecting her OS, this could have been a much shorter and more productive discussion. Angela Nmap O. A returns some lines starting with OS. How to change it? Look in the source code for Nmap. Find how it figures out the Linux part, then rewrite your TCP IP stack to not operate in a way Nmap can detect. Yeah, but I don't know about Linux Systems API at all. Well, Nmap's fingerprint is based on the way TCP IP stack works. There's no real way except to rewrite the appropriate parts of said stack. I really need to avoid these messages. Can IP tables do this work? Well, don't use OS detection or version scanning. I want to prevent others from knowing the type of my OS. So this comes down to how, again, your TCP IP packet is generated and fingerprinting your OS. Now, there are a couple other things you could block out, I believe, as to prevent that response. But yeah, it comes down to, hey, I'm trying to do this. I mean, this whole line could also be prevented by being clear about it, because you could misconstrue it as meaning, hey, I don't want to include the operating system line, just like I think seemed to be assumed here, is like, well, you're using the OS detection flag to scan for OSs. So if you don't want that, don't use it. You could also, like, how do I change? And again, this comes down to the TCP IP stack and how it works and how to change it so that it's undetectable. So I can go through, like, my whole network and show, hey, this is what the whole network looks like, and pick out different things. And I can do the minus O, and then do like 192.168.76.0 whack 24, and I can go scan. I can go through and scan like that, and it'll show me like different things. Some are going to be not as detectable because it's going to have a hard time fingerprinting it, because it's going to show it has multiple different like types it could be. So that's where you've got to be very clear about what you're trying to accomplish. So let's see. You've got the XY problem. So they pulled sources from here, if we're digging into it a bit more. I can go into here. And then, let's see, what's the next one? So yeah, this is just one of those like Stack Exchange ones, Meta Stack Exchange, how to meta the meta of asking questions. So they've got their own sources on that. I think this one's shorter. XY problem is that is sometimes called occurs. Oh, so here's another example. Say I have a file name in 1. How would I get its size? Why? Du file. Thank you. Du file even? Haven't thought of that. Literal answers to bad questions can be dangerous. Why do you want its size? What is the point? Want to write a script to dd512 K sections out in MD5 Summit. Huh? You want to do something with the size later? You want to what? DD doesn't return 1 when the end is reached. Why wouldn't you take a single MD5 of the whole thing? I have a corrupt 500 megabyte file and a slow connection. Rsync next. So this is really he's trying to checksum his different files to make sure that they're are full, when it's like he's going about it a bad way. Whereas rsync would do this automatically for you and be able to continue it even on a slow connection. So when starting a process from shell, the process inherits the GID of the shell. I'm looking to start a process with a different GID than my own. So I assume I should first new group to the new group and then start the process. However, new group audio gives the following error when run as non-root. New group audio works, but I can't use this in a shell script to start a certain process. What are you really trying to do? Trying to start wine with GID of audio. Well, Daemon Tools includes a set UID GID program that could do it, but to run that, you have to start out as root and then define user account whose primary group has the GID you desire. Suspect you really want to do is make Wine's audio work, which means you probably want to add yourself to the audio group and Etsy group and log out and back in. If only it were that easy. No, what I'm really trying to do is get the R limits that I set in PAM for audio to apply to the Wine server process so that it can use the shed FIFO to give audio threads a higher priority for games that request it. For Wine server to be able to use the R limits, it needs to have a GID of the audio that I defined in Etsy security limits. You don't actually think that R limits magically pop up when a process is invoked with a specific UID GID, do you? R limits are set within your own process and then handed down to your children when you fork exec them. Only specific things read pamd config files. Things are linked with libpamd like bin login and user bin sshd. If I define audio, what process do you think reads that file, Pam? And you think that wine is linked to libpam. You need to set the limits you want and then run the program you want. It will inherit them. I do stuff like this all the time. SU, ulimit, v, whatever. SU, freenet, start the freenet node. Usually exec SU freenet so that it raw root shell isn't left lying about if when the freenet processes terminate. Nice. See, this is why I ask things like, what are you really trying to do? See, this one used to happen a lot. Seriously, at least once a week back when Gen 2 was more popular. I'm editing a sed stream, like sed s blah, but I want to replace with blah instead of blah, editing of stream. Blah or use a different separator. Blah, thanks. I'm trying to ls a directory, and every file or folder that shows in ls, I want it to come out like file 1, 2, and 3 all in one line instead of columns or lists. Echo asterisk cron echo dir asterisk. I'm trying to compare two files, file 1 and 2, and if there's anything matching in line 1 from file 2, I want it gone from file 1. Oh, FAQ subtract. How can I get all lines that are in both of the two files or in only one of the two files? Bash morphism 2. Bash the questioner will keep changing the original question until it drives the helpers in the channel insane. Gray Cat goes out on a limb and guesses the actual question is, I want to synchronize a directory against another directory. No, I know what I'm doing. I swear I don't. You don't. Cool, worked. Thanks, guys. I have a file with package version in a list. For example, new cat and I want to remove version. Remove becomes new netcat pe bash parameter expansion. Expansions like foo and so on. See man bash and then search for parameter expansion. See also these. Cron foo pe parameter expansion again. And that will work even with something like GNU netcat when it has the hyphen after GNU. Parameter expansion. Read it. Okay. Foo equals do. Echo, boo. Save the world. Stupid. Save the world humbly accepts Gray Cat's gentle critique, begs forgiveness, and asks for more information. How do you do it for every line? FAQ. How can I read a file line by line? Oh. In that case, you want glibc 2.5 to be output, but yours fails. But I just tested it. glibc. And that's wrong. It's not glibc-2.5. Ah, rats. Right. End anchor. First dash traveling left from the right hand end, which is precisely what foo does. Ah, didn't see you post that first line. It was delayed by some lag. And percent is not greedy. Percent is greedy. Right. Yup. Thanks. Okay, Greg Cat was right, but I needed Save the World solution. Because some packages look like blah da 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 da. Thanks both. Has to be a Gentoo user. Well, quit being so uncanny. What are you working on? Emerging all packages in a category that are not already merged. All in the whole cat. And the reason you can't just type emerge blah is he has to type emerge blah version. Not only that, but, and the reason that you can't just type emerge blah 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 is he needs the list first. I want to get ones that aren't already merged. Just add -u. It keeps going. XY problem. And I need to get that not already merged list into Etsy portage package keywords. I know what I'm doing. CD user portage cat list. You're a Gentoo user. By definition, you don't have a clue what you're doing. No, everyone that goes into Gentoo does not have any idea what they're doing. They're just winging it. That's why they have, like, protections in it, unless you disable the, like, very brave and very dumb one. You mean list? You keep saying that. I don't think it means what you think it means. But my Etsy portage package keywords looks very funny with massive comments. Yes, sorry, just what... No, Gentoo means I know what I'm doing. Inconceivable. Please don't tell me you use Debian, else I'd be laughing for days. Now that's a case where lol was probably literal. Don't get into this, seriously. Friendly coders when they've mauled enough cron. Well, I know what I'm doing, and it's already in progress. -- no replace skips the packages specified in the command line that have already been installed. Yeah, that's the solution I'm using when I'm doing actually merger. Last step. CD portage, cat list, emerge list, CD portage, emerge, sorry. Or just CD user portage, cat emerge, and But hey, that would be too obvious and simple. Double quotes is not needed in Gentoo, but best to be safe. Okay, I can use that as my last step. Us poor ignorant Debian and BSD users can't handle this Gentoo elitism. Chill out, Grey Cat, but what I did to get the list in the first place was echoed. Well, do that instead. CD user portage cat merge, whatever the got echoed. Use... Okay, I can just copy and paste that, what I echoed, emerge, and indexed. Indeed, lols. That's hilarious. This was like... So this whole thread is not just like the XY problem, it is the XYZ AAZZY problem. Anyway. Yeah, so get to the point of what you're trying to do in reality, and then even the poor Debian users can help you out, because otherwise you'll be in too much pain. If you enjoyed the video, then like, comment, subscribe, feed the algorithm, boost the video up, share this video with your friends. If you found it informative or you just want to chat, I've got plenty of places in the description. Discord, Guilded, and what have you. Check those out, and I will see you guys in the next one.